Que lo que Knicks fans, we are live once again, part 2, live here, episode 13 of Knicks Fans Wilding. You already know the vibes, it's your boy Triple M, and I'm here with my guy, you already know, Don Juan. Tell the people it's really good.
What's going on, Triple M? What's going on? My mic was off. I was gonna go on a rant with this mic off. But what's going on, man? Glad to be back. You know what it is. You coming out of off the ball network, OTB. You already know what that is. Go check out my guys out there. Always providing great content. And of course, we also just got a guest from OTB. Shout out my guy Ersin. What's going on, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
My man Ersin coming from near New Amsterdam, Don Juan. We going worldwide now, baby.
Oh, let's get
it.
As Don Juan mentioned, off the ball's very own, man. Ersin, New Amsterdam, off the ball. Now you on Knicks Fans Wilding. Tell us a little bit about your story, man.
Well, my story is actually quite easy. I started with the NBA a couple of years ago. I think around 2015-16 I started following it entirely. Before that, it was small-time basketball games. You know, it was started with D-League. It was free on YouTube, so it was easy for me to follow. And I started with the player scouting about in the year 2015, and I have some experience scouting for a professional team in Turkey, Galatasaray. And I watched G League games for them. And you know, in Europe, they sign players off the G League or players who don't make it off the draft days, so go overseas and sign a deal there. So I did a little bit of scouting there, and after that I took a couple of years off. You know, I was a casual fan at those times. You know, watching regular basketball games. And actually, my story, what brought me to the Knicks, is that I didn't support a particular team. You know, so and that started around 2016. You know, when the Porzingis draft was there. Around that moment, not that it was because of Porzingis, but you know, I felt like, you know, it's better to choose a team that's close to my values, you know. And I look at that at New York, you know, from an outside the US, you know, the American dream. New York is the Big Apple. That's the symbol of America, you know.
Exactly.
And the New York Knicks were suffering at those times, and I think the franchise didn't deserve these bad years. So I felt connected already, you know. And after that, it started, and I was interested more watching blowout games. Like, don't know what to expect. I think the worst game I saw was that when you know, the picture goes around social media of Fisdale laughing when we are
62
40 points behind. I was watching that game live. I was like, what am I watching, man? Middle of the night, watching this crap. But you know, New York's fans grinding, man. I think that grinding is part of our culture, and I felt connected to that. And after that, I started growing in it naturally, you know. So last year was a hype, man. I didn't expect that at all. You know, after a couple of bad years, you're looking, okay, what can I expect from this season? And everything started to roll, you know, after Tips got in. So I don't know. I'm a happy man. So I'm enjoying every day.
Story. That sounds like a crazy.
Yeah, that is a great story, though, man. Especially just considering you're outside of the country, and it's sometimes hard to believe that the Knicks brand is that big. I mean, are there any fans out there too?
No, in the Netherlands, basketball isn't that big. You know, football or soccer is the biggest sport there, but basketball is a small-time sport there. But the people who love basketball is they go with the bandwagon, you know, support the Warriors, like the winning teams. And I think the only connection the Netherlands have with New York is that, you know, 500 years ago there was Dutch crown, and they traded it for the Surinames in South America. I think that's the only connection. No, that didn't connect me at all, you know. But that's the closest connection. But I think that a lot of Knicks fans in Europe, man, especially in the UK and Germany, especially in Germany where basketball is quite bigger, but here in the Netherlands, basketball is, you know, a small-time sport. It is. I can watch games in the weekend on ESPN, but after that, it's mostly not ice hockey, but regular hockey, football, volleyball, that kind of sports, you know. So I think basketball is being overlooked now, you know, because I think the game of basketball has a lot to offer, but at the professional league, there's also a small-time basketball league, so it isn't much, you know. So
Sounds like a great story, bro, man. So we got a lot to talk
Yeah,
about
man.
with our New York
Yeah, for
Knickerbockers.
sure,
But
bro. For sure.
before we get it started, I want to play this little hype video I made. Get everything started. You feel me? Everything you're about to
Yeah.
see right now. This is it right here. The Knicks fan wilding. Actual right here, little movie. I'll say. Ooh, look at that production, man. It's like
Hot, bro.
Steven
Hot.
Spielberg or something just
Yeah,
went
bro.
in and violated. I just need the season to start after watching that video, man. I'm ready to jump over, man. But let's get right into it, brother. Ersin, let's talk about the Summer League, bro. Knicks 2-1, starting 2-1. Looked good last night against the Lakers. And I just want to start off. What has impressed you so far from the Summer League?
I think from the summer league, how I see the summer league is that you use it to learn about players, learn things we didn't know. I started with Tapin. I think he didn't produce as much offensively as he could have. And watching him in summer league, taking the ball aggressive to the bucket, scoring wise, carrying the team. He can be a go-to guy in the year two, I think. And especially with Quickly, emerging as a playmaker, he didn't do that as well. He mostly shot threes, but seeing him going aggressive to the bucket, scoring inside, showing leadership on the court for the other rookies, that's quite special. These guys are. I read that they took 2 days off and then went to the gym after that, and they work for the summer league. I think that's dedication, man.
Yeah,
After game two, the interview Quickly gave about the Knicks culture, about what drives them to make them better players. I think they translated very good to the court, on the court. Because if I look at this team, they're all dogs, man. They're running, especially on defense. They're showing great excitement. They bring excitement to the team because everything starts defensively for me. As defense is good, offense will fix itself. And I think that translated to our successful year last year. Because if you look at the roster, it wasn't built to even get to the playoffs, and we were there, as the fourth seed. It was mostly a coaching staff success, but also the players, man. They gave everything, especially Randall, man, because he deserves most of the credit because he went from a guy who was about to get traded, and we drafted Toppin to replace him for Randall, and that guy came back and all second NBA and most improved player. He became an all-star. I think it's crazy, man. I think, looking back at 1 year, I think the change we've seen is no, I've never seen something like this. I think this is a franchise chasing season. I think it will lead to us staying in winning mode for a couple of
let's
3, 4,
see.
5 years.
Hopefully. Don Juan, what have you seen most interesting so far in the summer? And Don Juan on mute again.
The train, bro. We in the Bronx, the train right here. I'm just making sure we get some good
Walker
audio,
home
bro.
right there.
I'm making
Kemba
sure,
Walker.
thinking about the viewers and the listeners, man. You feel me? But in terms of summer league, I've been really impressed with. It's a lot. It's a long list because is the starting five. Even with Grimes with his poor outing, he's still his energy is up there. He's grabbing boards. He's still putting effort on defense. You got Quickly who he's proven himself that he could be a leader of a team. He could be a point guard in the league. Granted, is lesser talent, but just the practice, just the little stuff that he's doing on the floor. Making sure everybody's in the right position. And Obi, that consistent effort every time he's granted, he's getting more minutes now, so he always had the energy, but now he's kind of putting it all together. We see a bit of an offensive game that he has with his post moves that honestly we didn't really get to see much last year. We really got to see him more. He got a few dunks here and there, and spot up corner three. But now you see his game evolving, which maybe that's because another a year in the league, also working out in the summer. Maybe the game is kind of getting slower to him. So
Yeah.
I see a bunch of improvements. I mean, look at Sims, looking like another steal in the draft. He 58th pick. I mean, honestly, at this point, I feel like he's a little bit more advanced than Mitch coming into the league. Granted, this kid played 4 years, 3 years of college, and Mitch barely played in college. I don't even think he played in college. So it's one of those things that the experience is showing. But maybe Sims could get some minutes here and there down the line. Last year we dealt with some injuries, so I felt like I'm confident entering the season with all these guys we picked up. And I mean, of course, can't forget McBride, who blew up last night. He showed out. I mean, not only me, but a lot of people have a little Marcus Smart comparison because of how tough he is on defense, and it's just his attitude. Like he's willing to just play defense if he has to. But the fact that he also got the shot. I mean, the kid was a 40% 3-point shooter in college, and we didn't really get to see so much of that in the first two games. But yesterday's game, 6 for 6, and all in the second half, it seemed like he came with a bit of an energy boost. I don't know if it was the fans in out there in Vegas, but because there was a lot of fans out there too. Knicks fans always travel well, but yeah, the fans must have woken up the team because the second half was completely different.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's been a crazy. First of all, I want to show you guys my cup right here. Look at this little cup that my God went to a little wedding. Got a little nice little jug right
Hey,
here. You feel
got
me?
the Knicks hat too, right?
Yeah, got the Knicks hat right there. Got my name. This is gonna be filled with a lot of things lately. But shout out to my brother, Mr. and Mrs. Falcone, as they just got married out in Mexico. I was there, so shout out to y'all. But yeah, Summer League, bro, it's been great Summer League because everybody was expecting to see a lot from Quickly and Obi, and to be honest, they have not disappointed. They've quickly has been buckets like we know. He's actually Obi and Quickly, they were way too good for Summer League, and we see it. These guys are controlling the game whenever they want to. The only knock I would have on Obi is sometimes he drives to the basket and shies away from contact. So I would like him to go up on top, get fouled. He's such a strong big boy that I would like him to get feel the contact and stuff like that. But Quickly has shown out, and Obi has shown out too. The best players on the Knicks, obviously on the Knicks Summer League roster. So I've been impressed with those two guys, and from the rookies, of course, McBride. I mean, I said it yesterday. He's gonna force Coach Thibodeau to get him some minutes, I believe. I mean, the guy is tough, and
Yeah.
Thibodeau, he loves tough guys. He's strong, he's feisty, and he plays defense. Obviously, that's what Coach Thibodeau want to see. But yeah, man, let's get to the next question right here. I want to get to now that I'm talking about it. The IQ, is he a true point guard or not? It's just been a hot debate lately. A lot of people going back and forth with this one. Don Juan, man, let me start with you. What is IQ to you?
IQ to me, man. I wish I could pull up the that clip of him because that was it. I feel like it was real confident how he sounded, man. To me, he's a modern day point guard in the making. I don't think he's a finished product just yet. I feel like he can play it, if need be, but he's not there yet because he has been playing well in summer league. He's had 8 assists in the first two games. How much he had yesterday? 7 assists. So it's like he's definitely making plays, but he's also against a lesser talent. Like, can he do that on an everyday given night? Any pressure situation on a big stage at the guard, when the guard is rocking, it could ruffle some feathers even on your own team. Like, damn, man, I'm a little scared. I don't know. But I think that with the mentorship he's gonna have with Rose and Walker, it's gonna be incredible because these are two guys that are also, you could say, scoring first point guards. They're not gonna get their 7, 8, 9 assists per game, but they're gonna get you 5, 6, and make sure that that they're also scoring as well. So I do think that he could eventually be that. Last year he was robbed of a summer camp. He was robbed of a summer league and a training camp. So he wasn't able to even practice as a point guard. It was like, all right, let's see what you got. It was they really couldn't create plays for him. So now with a whole summer, a training camp plus the guidance of these guys. I mean, he even said that Derrick Rose, he was always like asking for help for Derrick Rose, and now with Kemba, it's going to be the same thing. Like the kid is clearly wants to improve. He wants to play point guard, like he said in that press conference. Like if a guy comes out with that attitude, also willing learner, a hard worker, he's improving his passing this summer and ball handling. I can't cap him at not being a point guard, because I said before in episodes before where I said, look, my comp to him is like Lou Will, but Lou Will also never said he was a point guard, if I'm not mistaken. I never heard him say it. So I think he is a point guard in the making. I mean, the modern day point guard, Curry, Kyrie, Damian Lillard, they don't get crazy assists. They score, and if he could do a bit of both, I mean, he's on an unselfish team. I'm pretty sure he's gonna stick with the program, what we're trying to build here too. So
For sure, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We got Danny B here. Kev, man, what's going on? A Curtis Solutions. I see you, baby Lou Will. He's trying to limit IQ as Lou Will already. He's trying to just put him in that bubble as
Hey.
IQ. Ersin, what you think about IQ and his future? Is he a true
You
point
know,
guard? Or?
About IQ, when we drafted him, I was excited, man. I read about his story. He said already Lou Will was one of his favorite players. I took the lazy take of him being a sixth man, but I regretted it day one, because the scoring is there, obviously. He came in the league as a shooting guard. If you look at his field goal attempts, it was mostly threes, and he hesitated going in the paint. He didn't have a lot of field goals there, but he had a very, very solid year one. I think he was robbed from rookie team one. He was deserved to be there. He was overlooked on by a lot of folks, in the draft, and I think we stole him at 25. When we traded back, I had the feeling, okay, trading back is a good thing if you want to place a bet and you're sure you're going to win it. But I think the IQ after year one, the first Summer League game, I was surprised, because why is this guy handling the ball so much? But that's why Summer League is so important. You get to know things about players that you don't know. And I think the playmaking in the future will definitely be there for him, because if you ask a lot of folks what's a playmaker or a point guard, they will get the old traditional point guard, the passing one who doesn't score a lot, with the big man controlled NBA, gets the ball inside, and the big man scores,
Yeah.
But with IQ, he has the scoring, he has the playmaking. He showed a lot of leadership, as a guy from year two to the rookies in year one. And I think he's emerging from, a shooting guard to an all-around combo guard. I think that's will be his future, to be an all-around combo guard. Because if you look at his defensive stats in year one, I think the most important reason second unit was so effective is that the perimeter defense was very, very strong, from the second unit. Because when Rose came in, you saw that those guys connected very well on the perimeter. And if you look at the opponent field goals percentage, I have it in front of me. IQ ranked number 5 in the team, with 43% scored against him. And he's delivering defensively as Thibodeau wants. And I think Thibodeau is being overlooked as well, because Thibodeau has given an impression, that he gives 0 to none interest for rookies, but
Doesn't.
we
know
Immanuel
that.
Quickley,
We
he
know that.
loves that guy, man. He loves that guy. And he's getting more and more minutes at the end of the season. And I think the playoffs, I don't even talk about the playoffs, because I think the playoffs isn't a good translation for what we showed in the regular season.
Hey,
And in
but
the Summer
IQ
League, he
was the
showed the
only
playmaking.
one.
Yeah,
IQ was the only one that showed up in the playoff. I mean,
He
I'm not
showed up.
Rose and Taj, but IQ did
He
his
tried to
thing.
carry the team, He tried to take everyone from the ground and make something good of it, and that's enough, because it isn't a one-man team, I think he's a real team player. I think he is much further than we think, because these Summer League games show that he can be a playmaker. He is not a playmaker now, because that's not his thing, but he can be. His playmaking skills are obviously there in development, But I think after year 2, he will be a good all-round combo guard in this league, man. I think on long term, we have a game on our hands, man. Because I think after year 4, if we can keep him, this is this is a guy that I hate to make the comparison, but you look at, for example, Devin Booker. He came to
Oh
the Suns.
man.
He was a very bad team, but he kept improving every year, every year, every year. And now this season, he exploded.
Yeah.
He showed he can carry the team with leadership, with Chris Paul there. I think Quickly can have the same future, because if he has a number 2 guy that can, pick him up, give him that experience, Kemba has, like Rose has, I think those 2 guys will have an immediate impact on him in year 2. I
Oh
think he
man.
will get a lot more minutes, man. A lot more minutes. I
Ersin,
think,
you have a lot of stake on
yeah,
IQ
bro, I'm very
Island. I
hot on him,
see
man.
it.
I'm very hot
My
on him, man.
man
I
just
think,
giving him comparisons to D Book. He thinking
yeah,
he could
bro.
be a number 2, number 3 guy. Man, we're gonna have to come back to this a
I'm
few
sure,
years
man.
from now because it looks like you have a high stake in IQ Island for
Yeah,
sure.
bro, I'm buying that and quickly stock like crazy now.
I see that, but
Yeah,
I guess
bro.
when people create conversations, obviously is good. We have to do. ESPN has to make shows or newspapers has to get type of clicks, but I mean the league is constantly changing. I mean, what constitute as a true point guard nowadays? I mean, you just have point guards, as Don Juan said it, from all aspects. You got Dame Lillard, you got Ben Simmons. These guys are all point guards, and it's just constantly changing. I mean, look at shooting. Shooting has just blew up in the last few years. I mean, the league is
Yeah.
constantly changing. There's always new players changing the way the game is played. Inside, it used to be inside dominant before. Now it's not like that anymore. So, I mean, I guess it's just a conversation to start. But Lou Willis, I mean, excuse me, Quickly is 22 years old, 23. I mean, the guy is young and he's in the gym every day. Every day. I mean, Ursa said it. They took 2 days off and were right back in the gym. I mean, these guys are hard workers and whatever weaknesses that he has in his game, he's going to work to improve it. And I have a lot of stake in Quickly Island as well, man. I mean, I really, really like him. I feel like, man, it's gonna be hard when we start getting into these big names later on, which are coming, because teams are gonna want Quickly. Let's be honest, teams are gonna want Quickly.
Yeah.
Besides R.J. Barrett, he's our best asset easily, um, and a lot of teams are gonna call about Quickly, so it's gonna be interesting. I hope he stays and we keep on developing him because I think he's gonna have a bright future as Ersin. But man, he could compare him to Devin Booker. So
I
I
like
don't
that
know.
comparison. I like it.
Not entirely, bro, but I think if you look at the process of Devin Booker, he took quite some time, because he was on a bad team that wasn't focused on winning for a long time. And they showed improvement every year. So I think for Quickly it's the same because we weren't playoff team last year. We made it, but we weren't built to get to the playoffs.
No.
Now we got
Quick,
there, now we can build from that.
yeah,
But
quickly
he's
helped
in an
us.
environment where he can take his time, because it's a rookie. Rookies make mistakes. He also had a couple of bad games, very bad games where he didn't score anything. The field goal percentage was
He's
bad,
a
but
rookie.
that's
He's a
okay,
rookie. He's a
He's
rookie.
a
Yeah,
rookie,
he's a rookie.
they're learning. It's good to make those mistakes early, then in
Yeah.
year 2, year 3, where they pin an L on him, because
Yeah, man.
if he takes the ball in his hands with the game on the line and he misses, that's on him. But you
What?
can't pin it on a rookie, but you can if he's a sophomore or year 3, year 4. I think he's doing well, man, because you see the improvement is obviously there. I think improvement is the most important thing for a rookie, If he improves this, I'm satisfied. And with him, it's a lot of improvement. And I think
Yeah.
he really surprised me a lot. I had high expectations, but somehow he gets on top of that,
Yeah,
So
man.
I'm hyped for year 2, man, for sure.
Let's see what year 2 has in store for us. But there is still 2 more summer league games to go. Friday and Sunday, and then we go into the summer league playoffs, which the Knicks might have a good chance of winning. What are you trying to finish seeing? What other things you want to see as summer league finishes? Ersan, I'm gonna go with you real quick. Tell me what you want to see summer league in
I
with
think it was more about what the rookies show, because
rookies.
I watched game 1, especially for Grimes. I think Deuce, it was already mostly there what he can do, but 5 minutes in the game, I was focused on Jericho Sims, what he was doing, man. He's hitting constant screens. he was actually kind of spacing the floor, man. He was aggressive inside. He was constantly getting in good position. I think this guy we took at 58, I was like, what am I looking at? And then he finished the game without missing a single shot. And
Yeah.
then when he got on the bench, the game slipped and Toronto came back. I was like,
Put him
we
back.
have, what is this? It's just a summer league game, so I don't try to get too hyped on it, but you can't get not hyped at this guy, man. It's
Yeah. Guy could jump out
unbelievable.
the rim. Jericho
Yeah.
Sims.
And after the game, I was like, I didn't watch any of what Grimes did, what Deuce did. So I had to look again for what they did because I totally ignored them because I was so focused on Simpson who was doing.
Yeah.
And after when he was on the bench, I was focused on Obi because I've seen him score a couple of times. I think, okay, that's a good thing, man, that he's taking responsibility and getting buckets in a
So
hurry,
Jericho Sims is who you looking at. You're looking
Yeah,
at
bro,
Jericho Sims
for
to finish.
sure, man. And
Don
I'm
Juan,
very
what
happy
you?
that he signed a 2-year deal on a
Yeah.
two-way.
That
That's
was
a
a
good
good.
That's
That was
sign
a
good.
good
of
one.
commitment,
Hmm.
Yeah. What about you, Don Juan? What you
For
watching
me,
to see?
I'm still. I mean, like I said before, when I said last week coming into summer league, I'm looking at Obi, and I'm still looking at Obi. I want to see now him kind of, you know, clean it up a bit. You know, he was a bit sloppy. He's been getting turnovers, whether it's offensive fouls. I mean, some could argue refs are calling are a bit unfair with us, but I mean, consistently he got five turnovers, and yesterday and the game before. So it's like, let's cut back a little bit on that. I want to see, just a little more cleaner game, be a little more patient. Sometimes he's even taking shots that he's just taking without and not in rhythm, man. You could tell the difference. I mean, I seen a couple air balls and I'm like, whoa, like come on. He made an air ball for crying out loud the other day. That was hilarious. Never seen that before. But just
The
taking his
rebound.
time, the read the game. I mean, the game does looks like it's getting slower to him, but there's still times that you still kind of see that little kink that you're like, damn, I want him to fix that. This, but at the same time, this is his summer league debut. There's a lot of pressure on him just because we're expecting the fans are expecting a lot from him, considering that he is the eighth overall pick, and I still hold him to that. I want him to be what an eighth pick should look like. Granted, the eighth pick hasn't looked like that in a while. For example, Frank Ntilikina was
Bro,
it
come
eighth pick?
on, man. Come on, man. Let's not
And
go there.
kudos to him. We just gave what they said. We renounced his rights, and he is a free agent. So let's see how hot in the market he's gonna be. But besides that, I'm still holding Obi to that. He is the eighth pick, and and I'm and I just expect better things. Clean it up. He didn't score that much yesterday. I'm not expecting more points. I'm just expecting less turnovers, probably the same amount of rebounds like he had yesterday, and maybe a block or two.
Yeah, for sure, man. Shout out everybody on the chat. Edgar, New Tape City, off the ball's own right here. He said Deuce is looking like Marcus Smart
know.
out there. Oof.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. But for me, I came in looking at Grimes. He's been off a little bit, but you could see the lift in his shot, and he gets to his spot. Kind of want to see him have a Deuce like what Deuce did yesterday, where he kind of showed all his moves, all his pocket, his defense. Deuce showed out with his defense, the shooting, and the tenacity. And I need to see that from Grimes to finish off this summer league. I mean, he was our 25th pick. He was our only first round pick this year, and the Knicks were high on him, and he had a great showing in the combine. And I feel like I said it before, like I feel like he can have an impact this season. But it's looking like Deuce after yesterday's game might be changing my mind slightly. But I still believe in Grimes because I can just see the shot. The shot looks so smooth and silky. I mean, the two threes that he hit yesterday, one on the top of the paint over there. That was looking nice. That looked real nice. And the Knicks are gonna need spaces and shooters, so we definitely going to need that. Jericho Sims body they want over here for you, Erson. They go on a Jericho Sims body, man, for you. But Erson, let's wrap this up a little bit, man. I want to talk to you about the very important position that's haunted the Knicks for a long time. That Knicks fans are excited for the first time in a very long time about the two
Yeah.
point guards on the New York Knicks, Derrick Rose and Kemba Walker. I just want to get your take real quick. Let me go through the stats. Kemba had 19 points per game last year, 4 rebounds and 5 assists. D Rose had 14.7 points a game, 3 rebounds and 4 assists, and he shot 47% from the field. I want to know what would be the best case scenario for those two and the worst case scenario for those two, and what are you looking to see from the point guard position this year for the New York Knicks?
I think if I look at the point guard position, the worst case scenario is that Kemba won't play many games. I don't think he will play most games. He will sit out a lot. A lot of load management will be there, but that's okay. Because Kemba is a player that can create his own shot. Because after we started, I was looking at shot creation. Shot creation, we didn't have that a lot. If you look at the amount of non-assisted threes, threes created by themselves, it's really bad. And Kemba is, at around the 50%, and that's really good because he's proven shot creation for himself. If you need a bucket, then he's there. And last season, I think that cost us a lot of pain against the Hawks as well, is that we missed that guy that can get easy buckets, that can create shots for himself. Everything was on Randall. I think that's, to a certain case, that's okay. But if you are gonna win, you want to be a winning team, you have to be getting a number 2. I think Kemba is going to be valuable at that because Rose does that as well. But Rose is not a great 3-point shooter. Kemba is a better 3-point shooter, and he can create for himself. Because I think if I look at Kemba, he will be there to get buckets and show leadership. And if I look at the point guard position, my best case scenario would be start with Rose, get Deuce a lot of rookie minutes, and load management Kemba, because Kemba is healthy to play, then he will play 25 minutes, 30 minutes a night maybe, but that'll be it. But games without Kemba would be, for me, starting with Rose and play in the second unit with Quickley at 1, Deuce at 1, but give Deuce his minutes, man. I think that's very important. I think Coach Tibbs is definitely going to give him his minutes, because we have 3 point guards on paper now. Now, one being slightly questionable with Kemba. Can he play full season? Can he play 25 minutes a game? I hope he will. That will be the best case scenario. But in the worst case scenario, the load will be a lot more on Rose for one extent, and on the other extent, Quickley and Deuce. Because I think if I look at mainly the shot creation, that's what we added this offseason, man. We had, Deuce is a feisty defender, but he can create offense, man, and he's shown that in Summer League as well. And if you look at Quickley, for him it's clear, he's taking a lot of threes. He's now scoring aggressive inside as well, and they need to try that. Maybe they fail at it at the first half of the season, but that's okay, because the point guard position is changing a lot now. Because I think with Alfred Payton, I actually understand why we played him so long.
That name is not allowed in this. The name is not allowed anymore, man. We don't say his name. You call him E.
Call him E. The only thing he did good is that he tried to get buckets inside because he's not a 3-point shooter as well. And with Kemba, you added a shot creator, can score inside, he can score outside, he can do it all, And that's very important because I'm not worried about the defense on the perimeter because we're a good defensive perimeter-minded team. We have great perimeter defense. That maybe will slip a bit, but that's okay, But the offense wasn't there. I think in a winning NBA team, there has to be a heavy scoring load on the perimeter, and we didn't have that. Rose did it, but I can't name a number 2.
Ersin, they asking in the chat if the Nets are going to win it all, man. Who let the Brooklyn fan in here? Mikey. Yeah, man, we got to remove these people right here. There's no Nets fans in the chat room allowed, man. Ersin, who you bringing into the chat, man? You said that the Nets are going to win it. The Nets is not doing
I'm not very interested in the Nets, man, because if you look at that team, it's obvious their favorite, but
they're not
it doesn't interest me at all,
Yeah, man.
I'm here solely for the Knicks.
What's good with you, bro? What's up with the point guard position for you, Kemba, Derrick Rose? I want to hear a little worst case and best case scenario for the guys.
Man, Ersin kind of hit it on the head. Worst case scenario is Kemba missing some games, and missing like at least half the season. Because I'm expecting him to at least play 60 games. I'm not. They're playing 82 games officially, or yeah. So at least 65, 67 games if we could get from him. is ideal. I don't expect many back to backs. I do expect some minute restrictions on both Rose and Walker. I mean, we have to keep those guys fresh from the playoffs. You know, in the playoffs, like we saw the Hawks, they had everybody scoring. They had a lot of weapons, and I think that as long as we keep those guys fresh, we know how Tibbs likes to play all out all season long. But I think there was a bit of a learning experience, a learning curve for him, considering that on top of the fact that he didn't have that much options, he probably thought like maybe I should keep my guys fresh, especially Rose, especially Walker. I mean, we saw how gas Rose was and towards the end of game 3 and 4 and 5. Like he wasn't the same guy that he was in game 2. So as long as we
Sure.
keep those guys nice and fresh through the season, we'll be all right. But that's kind of like the best case scenario that I'm kind of patching up. But worst case is that these guys break down and we're in a situation where we have to force McBride a heavy load of minutes. We have to force IQ a heavy load of minutes. And at that point, you know, yeah, we're just expecting a lot from these young guys. That are they ready? Maybe they can. Maybe they step up, and that could unlock the team. But that's also that's wishful thinking at the same time. Like I'm not expecting too much. Like IQ, he's surprising me now in summer league, but he's supposed to do that. Do I expect him to produce that same way in the season? Not really, because it's a whole nother level of talent.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
but in regards to Kemba and Rose, I mean, I want to see Rose. I want to see Kemba start for sure. I love Rose's um chemistry with the second unit. It seems like he brings the best out of everybody, whether it's Quickly, whether it's OB, even Noel at times. Granted, he be buttering it up his hands every now and then, but he brought the best out of Quickly. He takes off that pressure off of that second unit as well. And Kemba, last year we had Payne there. Kemba is I feel like Kemba
Hey,
is gonna be the gift from God for Randall because he needs help, man. We saw in the playoffs it was so easy. It was so easily to take him out the game because Randall had no choice. I mean, everything revolved around him
yeah,
because he was the only option. I mean, the only way to get Bullock open was for Randall himself to do a little handoff screen for Bullock, and that could only work for so long. And now we got Fournier, we got Kemba. It's a complete talent upgrade all around. You expect RJ and Mitch to improve. So Kemba, man, I hope he don't breaks down. But best case is they 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 keep him 60 games healthy, Rose as well. And worst case is that they break down midway through the season and we're looking around at for Frank
whoa,
Ntilikina,
whoa, whoa, whoa,
for
whoa, whoa. I
Pete.
think that's it. That ship has sailed, man. The ship has gone. But for me personally, I feel good about the point guard position because I just feel like they have a lot of depth as far as you guys mentioned that you got Deuce there, you got IQ who's been playing the one, and you got Kemba and you got D Rose, and these guys could stay fresh. Granted, Thibodeau, he has a big job in his hands because he doesn't know how to do minutes distribution at all. Like it's just tough. He'd be running guys to the ground a lot of time. But I think he has to understand the players that he had. And as far as Kemba, Don Juan, you touched on it a little bit, but he's gonna really help Randall, especially in the fourth quarter. I mean, how many games did we
Mhm.
lose last year or go into overtime because you just dumped the ball to Randall and you just hope that he could do something and he just ends up taking a bad shot because that's not what Randall likes doing a lot. He doesn't like having the shot clock low and having to create either step back or try to draw a foul. I mean, with Kemba now, you have to respect that. And he could easily break down the defense. And
Mhm.
hopefully, we got a healthy Mitchell Robinson back as well, where the alley oop game is going to be nice to watch, man. That's going to be a pretty nice. That's gonna be a pretty nice connection, Mitchell Robinson and Kemba Walker, man. I just can't wait till the season starts. I can't believe that we still have 2 more months just talking
Yeah,
and
man.
waiting. But next season is gonna be exciting, and the point guard position, which has been so bad for 5 years. I did a video recently where I looked back at the last five point guards, and it was Ramon Sessions. We're talking about
Mm.
Alonzo Trier started 1 year. We're talking about Trey Burke. Talk about
Yeah.
Alfred Payne. I mean, it's been nasty, and now you get Kemba Walker, New York's own, Bronx own, in
Mhm.
the building, and that's gonna electrify everybody. And I feel like it's gonna be tough Thibodeau has a tough job to do where he has to try to stay fresh. I mean, that knee tendonitis could be tricky. It could linger, but he has a nice little off season to get right. And Boston got eliminated in the first round, so he has some time to recover there, man. But I just can't wait to the season, and this has been a fun show. My man Ersin coming from overseas, New Amsterdam, almost close by. Bro, take the people out. What you gotta say before you get up out of here?
No, I'm hyped, man. I'm looking forward to the season. I do a lot of, I look a lot of tape. I don't do a lot of threads, but I'm looking at the NBA Draft 22 a lot.
Okay.
So I'm already prepared for the NBA Draft 2022.
Nice.
I'm taking a couple of prospects and will follow them. And what I will also do is Roka Sukubaitis will play with Barcelona next year. The EuroLeague starts within 1 month, and I will pay a lot of attention to that, because that guy is special, man.
Okay.
I think we really
big on Roku.
we have a great drafting stash in Rokas, because he's playing on a team and he plays as a second guard behind Nick Calathes, who played in the NBA as well. And he has a Lithuanian coach who also played in the NBA. And he also, if you look at his game, he plays a lot of pick and roll games. I think Barcelona and Europe, they're known for the pick and roll offense. And he needs to develop that playmaking a little bit more, because the scoring with that kid is obviously there. I think his development, I think we recognize the situation well, taking him at 32, because he's a very talented kid. I think in the Summer League, he started a little bit nervous, in a new situation. He wanted to show himself. He had a bad turnover, took some bad decisions where he could pass the ball, but wanted to show himself, but that's okay. Because if I look at his tapes in Europe, you see a lot of very different guy, because and that kid I'm going to focus on him a lot next season, because he will be NBA ready, in my estimate, in 2 years, and in the best case scenario, he will be on the team next season, man.
Ooh,
I will do that a lot.
Follow my guy over here. He's gonna be really looking at Roku's. Should have followed him because he's gonna be sending them videos out and keeping us updated straight from Europe. He's gonna be there firsthand watching. But
I usually watch those games, so for me it's easier to pay attention to one guy now, So,
Don Juan, what you gotta say before we get up out of here?
Hey, just make sure to follow all our streaming platforms. I mean, Knicks Fans Wilding on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Knicks Fans Wilding, on Instagram as well. We always put in our content. I mean, this is our second live episode. It seems like we're just gonna be keeping rolling with the live. I mean, the fans are reacting. The fans are loving. The viewers, the listeners.
Credit Solutions, man. Knicks money line. I don't know. Let's see.
but yeah, follow all our handles. Follow the guys at Off the Ball Network. That's where we're coming out of, and there's always some content. Football season coming up too. So those people that want to follow some football guys, you can find your team a podcast that relates to you guys. But yeah, man, we coming back strong. Season around the corner. Who knows? Blink of an eye. But we about to win this Summer League championship, man.
Let's see. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Yeah. Big shout out to my guy Ersin. Thank you for joining the show, man. We gotta give
my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me, guys.
Salute, man. And as always, I always tell you before we get up out of here, enjoy life. Life is very short. Make sure smile, and you never know whose life you could touch by just a smile. Make sure, as Don Juan said, follow all our platforms, Knicks Fans Wild, and subscribe to the show. We need 100 subscribers to drop our pride. You already know the vibes. It's Triple M. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And it's another episode of Knicks Fans Wilding.
Peace.